take a look at S&P 500 ETF called SPY. This is the S&P 500 top 500 companies in the United States of America, and these are mostly global companies, so not just in the US but in most parts of the world. Company have some kind of advantage, economic advantage. Alright, so every candle here, this is the monthly chart. Every candle represents 1 month of time. As we pointed out last week, we have a strong supply zone created here, and this right here is not supply. This right here is demand, but it got removed. But then it formed this bottoming tail with a strong engulfing candle. So this says that over a month's time, price has been going up and up and up for a whole month. The next area of demand has to be down here. But the reason why price bottom out right here is there might be a higher time frame up beyond the monthly, maybe 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever, that has gained control and is what pushing. So this might be a level that got control, and then now it found support here, and it's going back up. The weekly, this is what we have. We have supply zone right here at the very top. We have another supply zone right here with this EMA, this blue line acting as floating resistance. So price came up here, tested it once, came down, and then had formed a strong bullish engulfing candle, and then price came back down, but before the week closed, price pushed back up. So this, to me, this is saying this is one test, one test, one test, one test. So 3 tests. So 3 tests to this supply zone, and there's many ways to rank this supply zone. We know that this is not good. It's over time, over the next few weeks, price could retrace down here to this weekly demand zone. But most likely, since we've seen a reaction to the supply zone where price has come up here, but it's penetrating, it's not reacting very well. As you can see, when price came back up here, the candlesticks are not dropping like a rock, it's holding here. So that means that the supply zone is not very good, and we can see it's one strong candle, one long candle, but this is an indecision candle. It's a doji, pretty much a doji, so we know that this is not very strong. So for it to be strong, we need a strong candle, but this candle is relatively weak. It's just one candle. So the supply zone formation here is not very good. That's why we're not seeing a strong reaction the way that a strong, like up here we have a strong weekly supply zone, but here it's not that strong. So we're seeing price come into this area and not having that big drop that we are expecting. But can it happen? Yes, it can still happen, because this is supply zone. These are where institutional sellers, hedge funds, the Fed probably, because the Fed is what's pumping this up. The Fed might be pumping this up and looking to sell down here or up here. We never know. It could penetrate deeper, but what we're expecting is not what could 100% happen. We want to wait for this supply zone to get removed for 100% validation of the zone. Actually, we want this removed or else we want this to retrace down here before we can even think about going long. Placing a trade right here is no man's land because it's seller's territory. But if you buy here, just because it penetrates deeper and deeper doesn't mean that it's going to break. We want price to show break, or we want price to be lower before we want to buy. This is demand because this is where the big reversal happens. So this is demand on this time frame anyways. So right now we're in no man's land. We're waiting for the next couple of weeks to see if price is going to break this level. So because the S&P500 is in seller's territory, we can see price drop on a lot of stocks for the next couple of weeks, or most stocks corresponds with the S&P500. So it's in seller's territory. If it goes up, every other stock is going to go up, but it's in seller's territory, so we're waiting to see what's going to happen at the supply zone. To me, price has reached this area and it hasn't had the strong drop in reaction that we are expecting. So we are expecting this supply zone to get penetrated deeper and deeper and deeper until it breaks, until it gets up here. But anything can happen in the stock market. Even if you know the power of supply and demand, you're not 100%. It's not 100%. Like, there's no holy grail, so you're not going to. You're gonna be right most of the time in direction given in time, but short term it could go the opposite. So whenever you're placing trades using supply and demand, if you know how to trade using supply and demand, you have the biggest edge in the world in trading. You have the biggest edge, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get 100% winners, 100% win rate. So we still have to stick to the rules, and you still need risk management. All right, enough talking. Let's go to the daily, see what's happened. So the daily, we have demand zone down here created. And in my last video last week, I said that this was demand, and then I believe this was supply. So if you take short-term trades right here, this was a very good short-term trade, but we so this was a very good short-term trade. We don't want to go. It depends. I don't have a good way to short the S&P 500 besides buying puts and options trading. So I tend not to trade options just because I don't want to trade options, just because options are not a very good vehicle for me personally, just because in general they have such wide spreads and they have more risk associated with them and all that. So I tend not to short stocks. I tend to just go long. There are hundreds of thousands of stocks that are long right now. Good opportunities. So why short? Okay. So we have supply up here, but then as we know that the higher time frame supply zone is already in control right there. So, but then daily supply zone is up there, and daily supply zone is also right here. So right now the daily is ranging in between these two, but we are expecting this to hold, break this because it's been tested once, and then come back up here, break it over time. But we'll have to see what happens during this next coming week. 4 hour is basically the same thing as the daily, but just polar price action candle. Okay. And that is it for this analysis. If you got value from this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and click on the bell so you get notified of new videos I release in the future. I make daily swing trading videos on stocks and forex using supply and demand. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. I want you to transform your charts into profits and build the life you love.